In 1885, the great powers of Europe handed a single man a piece of Africa roughly the size of Western Europe, and they did it in the name of God and good works. The man was Leopold II, King of the Belgians. The territory was the Congo Free State, not a Belgian colony, but his personal property, held by him as a private individual. He had won it by branding his project a humanitarian and Christian mission. He would, he promised the world, suppress the slave trade, open Africa to commerce, and bring the light of Christianity and civilization to its people. The powers believed him, or found it convenient to. What he actually built was a system of plunder by terror that killed on a scale we still argue about. And he built it behind the banner of the Civilizing mission. The idea that conquest was a gift the Christian West owed the heathen world. The theology was simple, and it was everywhere in the colonial century. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, taken not as an invitation, but as a mandate to remake the world, by force if necessary, in Europe's image. The African was a child to be raised, a savage to be saved. His land, his labor, and his soul were the raw material of a holy improvement. This is the move to watch, because it recurs across this whole series. The reframing of a crime as a kindness. Leopold did not tell Europe he wanted rubber. He told them he wanted to save souls. The cross went in front, and the chains came behind it. The reality on the ground was a quota system enforced by mutilation. When the automobile created a global demand for rubber, the Congo became a vast extraction machine. Each village was assigned a rubber quota. To enforce it, the colony's private army took hostages, burned villages, and punished failure. The signature horror, documented in photographs that circulated the world, was the severed hand. Soldiers were required to account for their bullets, and to prove they had not wasted them, they brought back the right hands of the people they had killed. And when they had used cartridges hunting for food, they cut the hands from the living to make up the count. This is the documented reality of the enterprise sold to Europe as Christian charity. Here the series' rule matters as much as anywhere, because the death toll is both staggering and genuinely contested. The figure most often cited is that the population of the Congo fell by roughly 10 million people, about half, during and around Leopold's reign. We must be honest about what that number is. There was no census before the conquest, so it is an estimate, and historians dispute its precision. So we will say what is defensible: a demographic catastrophe on the order of millions of deaths, and the uncertainty does not soften it. And here the story does the thing this series insists on. It refuses to be simple about the church, because the church was on both sides of it. Some missions were complicit. The regime and allied missions ran school colonies that took seized children into church-run institutions, feeding the colonial labor and military system. The line between mission and machine was, in places, very thin. But the people who exposed the Congo to the world were overwhelmingly also Christians. Missionaries who saw what was being done in Christianity's name and refused to bless it. William Sheppard, an African-American Presbyterian missionary, traveled into the rubber districts, documented the atrocities, and counted the severed hands himself. He was later sued for libel by a rubber company of the regime and acquitted in 1909. The British missionaries John and Alice Harris took and circulated the photographs that made the horror undeniable. Their evidence fed the Congo Reform Association, and the consul, Roger Casement, whose official report documented the system in devastating detail. It was that movement, missionary photograph, consular report, public outrage, that finally forced the issue. In 1908, under international pressure, Leopold was made to surrender his private kingdom to the Belgian state. So the honest verdict resists both cartoons. This was not, at its root, a crime caused by the Bible. Its engine was money, rubber, ivory, the bottomless greed of a king, and the Christianity in front of it was largely marketing. The respectable language that made conquest fundable and the conscience of Europe quiet. But the civilizing mission was not incidental either. It was the permission structure, the story that turned plunder into duty, that let a continent be seized as a Christian kindness and staffed the machine with missions. And when the church appears on the other side of the ledger, it is precisely because those missionaries rejected that story and turned the faith against the men who had been hiding behind it. The church was the costume of the crime, and also one of the forces that tore the costume off. Both are true. Neither cancels the hands in the baskets. So here is the receipt. What happened? From 1885 to 1908, Leopold held the Congo as personal property, justified as a Christian civilizing mission, and ran it as a forced labor rubber regime enforced by mutilation. A catastrophe on the order of millions of deaths. The spin. That was colonial creed, not Christianity, and missionaries exposed it. The rebuttal. Both true, but the civilizing mission was the Christian story that licensed the conquest in the first place and staffed it. The heroism of the few is real. So is the costume the horror wore. Leopold never set foot in the Congo. He ran it from Brussels by letter and ledger. A pious European philanthropist who told the world he was saving Africa, while the hands came back in baskets. That is the civilizing mission in one man. The absolute confidence that you are doing good at a distance from the bodies, with scripture on the masthead and blood in the supply chain. Call the theft a gift. Call the conquest a kindness. And put the cross in front where the conscience can see it and the crime cannot.